is 12%. So let's get this clear.
Yes. Yes, sir.
3% is human, 97% is the planet. The variation in the planet is 12%, which means humans do not affect it. Yeah? This is really simple.
Well, those figures, if those figures are correct, then that you're exactly right.
Well, he's a renowned climate scientist. Renowned.
Okay. Could you bring something up on that quickly?
What do you think I'm doing, dickhead?
Thank you.
So,
I need a fucking beer.
Okay.
This is ridiculous.
So there's... I'm not sure if you're familiar with ClimateGate. ClimateGate 2. ClimateGate was extraordinary. I remember... Yeah. I remember when ClimateGate happened. And to be honest, that was an extraordinary event. So ClimateGate happened just prior to the Copenhagen meeting.
Okay.
And basically a hacker and this hero of the world, unsung hero of the world, and all I can do is just praise and get down on my knees, hacked into
that's what Matt was talking about.
Matt
was talking about that guy hacked into
the University of East Anglia, who accessed over 1,000 correspondence between the chief scientists who contributed to the UN reports on global warming and their correspondence with universities and scientists all over the world. And that correspondence showed fraud, showed attempts to change data, delete data, misrepresent data, and to corrupt the peer review process. We've basically got evidence of conspiracy to corrupt the peer review process by these key scientists who are involved with the UN. And we're talking, it's the University of East Anglia, it's Michael Mann and his friends, and at the UN with Pachari and co. Pachari was the head, but he got slammed because he was a railway engineer with no expertise in climate science. He was the leader. Perfect. And so obviously he came out and was discredited. And what's going on is real scientists all over the world now are aware that this is just being discredited from top to bottom, and they're coming out. And the peer-reviewed papers are coming out now on the other side. And they acknowledge at the moment there's no warming, there's no been statistical warming in the last 15 years.
The ice caps are melting there. Like the ice,
no, they're not.
Cap has melted a lot more over the last few years. They're
not.
It is though. I've seen pictures of it.
Yeah, well, I've seen pictures as well.
What happens is when in the Arctic, and this is where it's about being understanding at what time of the year the photo was taken.
No, I understand the winter and summer differences, but they've seen the differences between the summer and the winter are both less than other winter and summer times.
The
season is the same, but it's just over a gradual period.
I guess this is where I defer to the scientists, and when it comes to scientific fact, I prefer to defer to the scientists, and it doesn't worry me at all because the scientists who tear apart the theory of AGW are extremely strong, and they put forward an argument that is just devastating. That's why you haven't seen the debate in the public. That's why you haven't seen the counter arguments dealt with in a way that makes sense.
I've seen and read pretty carefully this. Basically, what was it? It might have been only. No, it's not. It would have been more than 36 months, but there was a chart of it was 360 months of just straight upward rises in temperature.
Yeah, but they don't count the medieval warming periods. They don't go back into history. It's like...
I'm finding this really hard to listen to. Like, I'm all open-minded and I want to know everything you have to say, but like, I have learned this stuff at University of Melbourne. That fucking means everything. But so what you're saying is then, what I have trouble believing, and I want to understand how this can happen, if it is happening, if there are people out there with intentions to manipulate certain things into being or certain theories or whatever, and those things can be refuted or proved by science, there are a shitload of scientists out there who are able to go out and study these things. How can they be sure to be able to control all these studies and assure that the scientists are going to represent their agenda? I don't understand how that can be the case, including a whole university telling the students exactly what they want to do.
Not only
I don't
one university,
understand that.
nearly a lot of Australian universities would be
I'm just saying
telling
a
the same
university. I'm just saying an example.
Allow me to explain. So, you've been to university, which is essentially a Masonic institution where you've been given a degree. And if you break down the etymology of the word university, uni, one, verse.
But I'm not. I'm not interested in talking about.
No, but this is what you've gone through. I'm just
I'm
explaining to you what you've gone through.
But
how you arrive at your belief is because of your experiences.
Well, no, I take it as some
what you've been
information that's
exposed
been given to me. But the thing is, though, that I put a lot of credibility in that part of my education and where those facts have come from, because I haven't seen anywhere else that I think should deserve more credibility than that. I get that it's skewed in their image, and I had a lot of problems with Melbourne University. I hated a lot about it, but what I'm finding hard to understand is that the people that work in these institutions, regardless of it being a Masonic institution or whatever the fuck university means, as literally. I have my brother is a PhD student at Melbourne University. He studies there, and he thinks for himself, I believe, in every meaning of the word, yet he has an education from some way.
One verse. Universe. One verse. One hymn book.
He goes out there and he studies things with a language called mathematics, and he goes out there to try and find answers and thinks for himself, thinks about theories, the way things could be. Yes, it may have been guided by a certain education that has taught him to think in certain ways, but I don't believe that mathematics can be that manipulated.
I agree.
I just don't get it.
It's one of those things, and I call for the fact that I'm a environmentalist. I really am. I freak out about depleted uranium munitions being fired off in Australia and overseas. I freak out that we've got GMO pollination and open air pollination happening in Australia and overseas. I worry about the chemicals in our food and our water, and I worry about deforestation and fishing supplies declining. I worry about the atmosphere and the chemicals and the pollutants that are in there. But these are real environmental issues that deserve real answers. What we're talking about is a fraud perpetrated by a group of gangsters. It's quite easily passed in terms of the lies that they use and the information they use to support their claims. It actually goes back over 100 years ago into the occult and the Green Man. And then you see it grow up in the 50s and 60s with there's going to be an ice age, and then they flipped over into global warming, then they flipped over into climate change, and it really is just an agenda to govern the planet. And it's really,
in what ways
really
do you think that they'll benefit
opaque.
from that? Do you think it's like creating an enemy and making the like you said,
it's
reason that everything's
it's a
going
method
bad
of control. It's a method of control. They can now control your toilet, the globes. They can come and inspect your house and say, what is your environmental rating? They can look at what you're consuming on an everyday basis and say,
this fucking thing. Are you saying that this guy came and put this fucking power source?
Sean has a bit worried about
what is that?
The government gave it to us for free to control
thing.
Okay,
get rid of it.
Let's use some common sense here. Right?
When I turn off the TV with the remote, it shuts down all the power to the TV, so it is not left on standby for longer than 15 minutes. So, it was dropped off by some guy from the government.
Let's not. The government the
Sean
government,
said about
the
a
global
cabinet.
government, the UN, and the global government
sure.
has turned sustainability into a swear word when it shouldn't be. This is common sense. Don't piss in your nest.
Yeah.
This is not like, oh, you're the scientist, you've given me great wisdom from above, don't piss in your nest. You know what? This is common sense.
Well,
and most species know this, right?
So,
even the rats.
I'm just saying, but climate change, for a lot of it, if we're going to go down the road of climate change, then it's saying, well, renewable...
They're going. They're going.
Yeah,
they're going.
I know,
this is a cornerstone of their plan.
It's saying renewable energy.
Cornerstone.
But renewable energy, it seems to... The implications of it seem to... Now, okay,
what happened to our
carbon tax is fucking bullshit because, I look at it in the way, what's one thing that they haven't taxed? They tax our water, they tax everything.
It's been done before.
They tax our air.
It actually happened between the 1600s and the 1800s where the kings and queens of the day in the UK decided to tax the life cycle and they decided to tax sunlight. And
sunlight.
Oh no, it sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? But hear me out. You can check this out, right? Google it, and this is one of those Google it moments, right?
Oh, is it?
So it's like, okay, so the size of your windows on your house, which is obviously important to your health for vitamin D, yeah. This isn't obvious, The doctors these days will say stay out of the sun. I say get in the sun. So they tax on daylight based on the size of the windows. This is a tax on the life cycle. And it's the same thing. We've got men dressed in dresses. This is one of my favourite analogies. All right, so what happened in the past, and this is what the Catholic Church used to do to you, they'd have men in black dresses come to you and say, give me money, and you shall live in heaven.
Shall live, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it was called indulgence.
Yeah.
And so rich people give all this money to the men in black dresses as an indulgence. And so, and they'll be saved in the hereafter.
Yeah.
And we're faced by exactly the same scam. It's exactly the same, except we've got men in white dresses, i.e. scientists, and they're in their dress. They're saying, give me money, and I'll save the planet, and I'll save you, and you'll be saved in purgatory. It's the same scam. It's exactly
but you're right.
the same scam.
You're also right with that window tax, because that's where they get the term daylight robbery.
Yes, and tax the daylights out of you.
Tax
but
the
exactly.
Yeah, it's exactly. Let's take the life cycle. There's 4 things in the life cycle: sun, water, oxygen, carbon dioxide. 4 things. And these 4 things don't happen, life doesn't exist. And they've managed to tax one.
And you're talking about taxes in...
They tax them all.
Tax them all, that's what I say. Let's tax the sun. It's like, no more sun, you can't go out and enjoy the sun unless you pay your... And that's where they want to go.
So they can have money from tax. That's what you're saying.
No, it's not about money.
Not money?
No, it's not
so
money.
So power, control,
They've got money. They've got money. They own the central...
is making people
They own the central bank.
They own the central
bank.
banks. They can print the money. They own the money printing presses.
Control.
It's not about money.
So then what
power.
It's about power.
So it's all about the human psyche and the fact that we do all these things because we have our nature is power.
No.
Well,
not
our nature.
No, there.
If we were living in their spot,
we are not
exactly
them.
the same
We
thing.
are nowhere near them. We are a species apart from them, and they've even stated
they are
that.
human, and they are
They've
part
used
of
it in
what we
their
are.
words. They've used it in their own words, and that I'm paraphrasing somebody, but it was about the chances of these people revolting is the same chances of sheep revolting against the practice of using mutton. We are so far gone and down the decision chain, we're nothing. Animals just to be used and killed for profit.
What I mean is that they are still human beings that have come about over thousands of years of all our societies and cultures that we've had come and go. and this is what has resulted in. Yes, cool. Some people are all over this
So-
extreme. Some people were still
So
all
here